Hello, beautiful Taurus. Let's talk to you. We gotta have a little talk. We gotta have a little talk. It might make sense too, because I feel most of you guys have got something amiss and something to hide. I feel that Taurus has got a similar little glitch that Aries has got, which is slight fear and guilt. And it feels to me that Taurus doesn't really know it, but they've done absolutely everything right. And this is a really, really harsh thing because they might be looking at something, I feel, thinking, oh my gosh, I've done so many different things that I should have done different. And this is this, and this is this, and this is that. And there's almost like, like shock horror. And the things that are persuading you to change, those thoughts, thinking, like I should have never done that. That's the bad stuff. So you just got to let it go and see life very simply here. It's an interesting time not to worry about the past, and it's a very, very, very good time not to think about the future because that's going to all change. Oh, annoying. Yeah, I know. And you got to think about almost like the fast forward past and into the now. So fast forward past all this stuff and into the now. The now. This is basically where you can end the video. Look at my almanac. It's on sale. Bye. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. It is a good time. It's a good time to basically no longer like separate eggs. You know what I mean? This is my good part. This is my not so good part. This is what I've done, and this is what I should never do. Or this is where I've gone wrong. This is where I committed too much. This is la la la, and I should have just started this. And instead of doing the bad thing, I should have just done the work thing. Any type of time wasting is not good because here we've got a very, 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 very important time to work and truly develop time. What is time? Do you know what that means? Regeneration. That also means connection and bliss because when we are working with Saturn and Sagittarius still, if we are working with the moon, if we are working with Neptune here, it can be an incredulous time to really, really, really create parables, these stories that actually really blow your mind. But we've got to stop with the past, and we have to stop being anxious about what's going to happen next. So if you wanted to change your whole system, if you wanted to change your life, if you wanted to change everything that you've ever seen in your world, start now meditating, practicing, and reminding yourself, no more past, no more future, just the now, just the now. What am I doing right now? What am I doing right now? This is my computer, this is the camera. And the ironic thing is that you will not want to live in the same way as you did before when you start really seeing the power and the potency of the now. You won't want to do anything like you do. You might actually find that this is a scary thing perhaps for some of you guys. You might not want to perhaps look at the same people. You might not want to do the same type of jobs. You might not want to create the same type of anything. You might not even want to talk. You might not even want to get out of bed. You might actually have like a fiery piece of you suddenly awaken, and it is kind of a little bit like Fight Club, when he wakes up and one day becomes a different man. It is not an easy task, it is not an easy road, but it can become bliss. Though I would probably say as well as generating the new feelings inside of you, the new values, is also really time to set and feel. So in any sense, it is not so much about eccentricity, but it is more about the power of now to change your life, to change your world. And that's basically it. But the best thing I feel about your Taurus is that you don't perhaps deserve it, but you get a lot more now than you perhaps are used to. You might not feel that it's like a thing, but suddenly you are getting some things that you perhaps never felt that you should. Because of your energy during this month, you suddenly understand that something or somebody is turning around and they're just presenting to you. If you can connect to the now. And this is also another thing, is that before, what was valuable and what brought to you tears of joy and feeling and pride might be, very small when you understand that power that you have inside, when you can just circulate the now. And this is why I feel a lot of people might trust you. And you might have someone turn around and give you some property, or give you some big flow, or give you even their child to look after for like 2 or 3 weeks. Somebody might trust you a lot during this time because you're vibrating to the primordial now, hopefully. And when you vibrate to the primordial now, Taurus, you are all and everything, in one. You are everything. And this is very difficult to be. Basically, this means that you have become a certain type of rhythm, or a certain type of rich, deep, and, centering frequency that to us is incredible, though also can be misleading. So, for example, if you're somebody who's done a lot of work for somebody once, and you've gambled a bit, and you've done some crazy things, and you are suddenly, okay, I'm in the now. Suddenly things turn up that invite you to do more of the same. So the things that you used to hold dear or hold precious or value, they are there, even though they might be even from the dark as well as from the light. So light and dark are playing games with us in December, yes. And there's also, I feel, a lot of work to do with the ego, and with, I feel, depression, and also remembrance of things. So this is not an easy road. This is not just about being here, focused, and being given. For some people it is. It depends on your possibility spectrum due to innocence and freedom from thought. If you're an innocent person and you just kind of walk around, you don't even know what it all means, that might be. But if you're somebody who's a thinker, and who's a feeler, and who's a prodder and a plodder, that isn't more like, what I mean is, if you are like, feeling into it, thinking, overdoing, it might not be exactly your type of thing to question sometimes you, and you might question other things and other people. So it can get very messy. I feel that centering and focusing and being really with the now, like seeing the truth and the innocent feeling of now, just oh wow, look at this keyboard, look at all these keys, these are amazing keys, like seeing things, feeling things, touching things, my almanac, like touching things, and being embedded in the feeling of the now. I feel becomes you more than you might know. And then I feel that eventually people, or how can I say, like portals in your reality just give. It's just really weird. It's almost like it was milking a stone before, and then you just do this and it just pours. And that's really, really hard to sometimes understand. As one sort of, I feel, becomes more mature during this time, it's very easy to age, and it's very, very easy to become weak energetically, or especially and physically, if you aren't mature enough to just know that you are just here and you're just physical. If you're flying off and you're feeling all these different feelings, it doesn't feel like it's going to bring any more. But if you are welcoming change, and you're actually thinking, I need to stop doing so much, and I need to actually feel what I'm actually experiencing, what is it that I'm actually living right now, you might get a lot. So maturity doesn't have to be physical, like draining and energetic maturity. If you can create a consciousness maturity, so your consciousness can mature without dragging your body into maturity as well. If you just allow yourself to be in the here and the now. The best thing I feel here is to, for some reason I'm feeling minding children is really good. Minding others, being clear and careful with boundaries and with control issues as well. So for example, if you've got somebody who is sick, or is like empty, or maybe they're tempting you because they've got a very, very difficult situation, and they're testing you and they're pushing your buttons, it's actually a very nice time to take care of a friend, or a young one, or maybe somebody who's very old, hopefully. Hopefully that your elderly live with you, because that's usually the best way to do it. But that's just a tribal thing. And a new thing I feel as well, when you create situations of care, I feel you might actually feel that there's two of you playing. So there could be a friend that just does, just a person who's just the doer and just, the creator, like almost to the point for some of us where the mind doesn't really work. It's just, we're just vacuuming, we're just cleaning, we're just doing. And then another part could be the kind and gentle person, but at the same time with a Jekyll and Hyde sort of personality. It's like, I just served you breakfast, you didn't even look at me. You know what I mean? So there might be a disassociation from oneself where life feels like it ping pongs you, like there's ping pong balls everywhere, like bouncing off you. Like you might have today a very calming day, and the next day you might feel really exasperated and really, really hungry and dirty and strange because somebody hasn't treated you perhaps the same as you've been treated before. So any type of control issues really do have to go. And also tradition, and this is very difficult for some, tradition has to become clean, so traditional food or traditional ways of thinking, traditional ways of presenting or representing something to another person have to change and become less of a burden and more of just like a mindless experience. It's like, yeah, of course I always make eggs in the morning. Here are your eggs, and now I'm going to sit there and I'm just going to look out to the water or something like that. So it needs to become very simple, and I feel the more simple and primordial your energy, the more likely you are to generate great successful returns. And I feel ironically all that was before out there and some kind of like unfathomable thing, and things and people that were previously ununited with you and ununitable with you, and things that never understood you or never really could be on the same level as you, the same platform, will become on one level, and then you might actually see beyond those things. So that's an interesting thing to accept or not to accept. I think the power is yours, so you have ultimate power here as to accept or not accept what you're given or who you're given during this time, but you have to be very, very, very kosher for yourself. So you kind of have to always test yourself, taste the air, almost like feel the breath of life, feel things, and remember that you're a living, and you have to remember the full how can I say that, the concentration of you, like the full power and value of yourself, and not to walk away or not to walk towards anybody or anything that is trying too hard to capture you or to get you to do something. So it is very, very important to stay safe as well, to stay sober, and not to bring anything to too much ado. So not to have too much ado about people and things. And yes, sometimes it is very, very powerful and very pleasurable where things that did not work or didn't want you before, didn't understand your energy before, suddenly start walking towards you. But you've got to let them go if you have a feeling like it's not really about them or you, it's just about the nature of reality, the nature of time. During the cycle, as we are facing Saturn here, it's sometimes not even about luck. It is not about luck, and it's not about greater emotional experiences. It is more about things being in a zombified state sometimes, because the program of nature, or like the natural law, suggests that things turn towards you when you're becoming more centered, and those things that you've prayed for can be answered. But whether you keep those things around or not is a question. So for example, if you wanted a career or a purpose or a pact with somebody, you might need to reform your spectrum. So the guilt and the greed, that one feels inside for not having something earlier, now becoming available, you've got to really, really take it slow and be very respectful with yourself and other people, and consider things, especially if you're in a position of power. And if you aren't, and if you are feeling that things are walking away and you just got to do a few things to help them stay or to help them release or to do something, if you're watching things disappear during this time, that's also very, very kind for you, because I feel that it is, no matter which way it goes, up or down, it is going to create for you something much bigger later. So by 2018, actually I think by January, like 2018, you may actually see that the release of certain things, or the awkwardness or the strangeness of certain things, birthed within you or generated within you a brand new concept which built itself up very fast or very far, and you might see that those things that fell away or those things that walked towards you were perfect building matter in a way that have created a new path for yourself. So don't consider things too personally. Very much ego needs to be under control here, and trying to connect to things in a very, very mild way, mild and level way, in order not to miss out on yourself. So always, like when we look towards something else or something that is happening outside of us, we can miss out on ourselves. And then what happens is that we burn dry. You know, it's like we get burnt out. We don't even know that we've done it. We've burnt ourselves down. You know what I mean? So it's really, really important to really, really nurture and to consider. Also, one last thing perhaps is fluffy things that are kind and gentle. Sweet flavors are great usually. I feel for some of us Tauruses, like for some people with Taurus energy, it is not a good idea to ingest too much sweetness to try and make ease in your life. You know what I mean? So to feel easy and to feel loved and to feel cared for and to feel like a child and to feel held, it is sometimes easy to overindulge. So during this time, because of Saturn, we can build a lot of habits and build a lot of situations that don't eventuate into anything good. So take care with your diet and salt as well. So thank you very much, Taurus. Here is my almanac, and here are the other two books, and they're on Amazon. And they're good books. Actually, especially like this one and the other one too. They're just very, very different. They come from different eras of my life. And this is my almanacs. This is the planner for 2018, and I will do the annual reading for you for 2018 when I get the chance. Thank you very much, Taurus, and have a wonderful time. Bye.